Dirty Dan. Welcome back to Greasy Boy Customs. We're back on the Bronco today. Where we left off last time, we got these panels fit in here, and we're getting ready to do the windshield frame. Let's go ahead and get started on that. Before we can go ahead and install this windshield frame, we have to think about something. Now, once this windshield frame is welded down, the bare metal in between the bottom of the hinge and the top of this cowl piece are going to be concealed. We're not going to be able to get in there and paint them, so eventually rust will accumulate and they'll rot out and we'll run into the same problem we have now. If you just spray regular spray paint in there, yes, that is a layer of protection, but where you weld at is definitely going to burn through. One step up from that, it's going to be weld-through primer. This is available in several different brands, but we went with the O'Reilly's Master Pro House brand, mostly because of cost. This is $9. The 3M one is $55. We're only doing this small area, so didn't want to break the bank on something like that, and the chances of me using it in the near future are pretty unlikely. We got the weld-through primer sprayed on there. We let it dry. When you're spraying it on, it kind of looks like clear. You almost look like you're not doing anything, and then as it dries, it begins to turn kind of a primer color. So we've put the windshield in place. We're going to go ahead and just do a couple of the spot welds, flip it back up, make sure everything lines up, and then we'll actually bring our top back in here and make sure the top lines back up with everything as well. Let's go ahead and get it spotted in. The windshield's in place. We already grabbed the roof, brought it back in for just a minute, made sure everything lined up. So we'll go ahead and finish doing our spot welds across here. And there you go, wheel tubs. Now, here's a little problem though. Let's flip around to the inside here. You can see that it goes under this panel and under the lip of the floor as well. And if we zoom around to the inside here, you can see that there's a lip right there. So there's spot welds up in here. This is going to be really hard to get to these spot welds and be able to drill it out. So we're going to cheat. What we're going to do is we're going to take the plasma or Sawzall and we're actually going to cut along the edge and get all that out. And then we'll be able to get to the spot welds from the inside and finish trimming it out. Get our new one inserted. Again, we're going to do this with the plasma cutter. If you don't have a plasma though, cut-off wheel or Sawzall works fine. However, if your gas tank's still installed, be a little bit careful about where you're cutting. Maybe remove your gas tank, that would be the best bet. Let's cut some stuff. And well, now that we have that cut out, we can see a lot better with what we are working with. We can actually see our lip all the way around, and we'll be able to grind this off and find the spot weld so we can do a nice clean removal. Again, with our cuts, we had our cuts on the wheel tub, not on the floor, not into the body. It was all cuts on the wheel tub itself, so everything else should stay intact. Again, if your fuel tank is removed and you have access and you can get in there and cut it out, this looks like it's probably going to be a better way to do it. If there is a better way and you know, let me know, and then I'll let everybody else know. Thanks. Well, and look at that. The wheel tubs look pretty nice. Now, there was a little bit of difference. You can see this has this pocket here, and this side does not. Still a huge pain to drill all of it out. Now, there is one thing. There's a lip right here on the inside. Now, that lip is virtually impossible to get to with the tire on, and we're going to be pulling the body on this thing. So, we've welded all the other spot welds up. When we remove the body, then we will go ahead and take care of those spot welds. Now we're going to move on to the engine. So we have the engine set in place, but we need to change that whole front cover on the engine. So we got a kit from Power by the Hour, which will suck everything in, give us some more room on the front of the engine, and we're going to go ahead and paint the new front cover as well. This is what we've got in our kit. Now we've got a new crank pulley, we got the new front cover, and correct me if I'm wrong, this may be off a car. I think that's what part of the difference is. Also comes with your bolt, all the necessary mounting brackets, belts, pulleys, and so on. Some of this is genuine Ford stuff, some of it's Gates, some of it is theirs. Either way, all top quality products. We're gonna go ahead and clean this up and paint this, so while it's drying we can tear it down and start working on this other stuff. All right, first up, let's talk about the Harmonic Balancers. This is the original. This is the one that comes with the kit. You can see they're almost identical. This one has a little bit of rust on it. They are the same height and they are the same diameter. The keyway is the same, but obviously new is always better, right? Real quick, let's talk about the alternators. This is the original alternator, and this is the one from Power by the Hour. Now you can see this one has their clutchless pulley on it. These alternators, from what I understand, are for Boss Mustangs and GTs, if not mistaken. You can see that a couple differences. The body diameter is a little bit different. And also, if we flip it over to the back side here, you'll see that these items are in the same location, but it's just a little bit smaller. Everything's a little more compact, and that's gonna work better with this bracket. So let's get the right alternator on the bracket and get it installed. So as you can see, they give you these 3 standoff bolts here that bolt into existing holes in the cover. You actually mount the alternator backwards. Again, this is not the right alternator. The plugs are in the wrong spot and so on. So it would mount in there and you would route the belt on the inside. Now, alternator is installed, no longer hitting here. Now it is a tight fit, especially down in there, but it's not hitting. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode with the Bronco. We've got the rear wheel tubs in, we've got the front engine accessories from Power by the Hour installed, make sure everything clears and fits. Now we can move on to the next part of the project. The next part of the project in our next video is going to be fitting the steering column and the gearbox and making sure that these things line up and work with each other, as well as fitting the radiator and make sure that it also lines up. Once we know that everything on the engine, the steering, and the front end is in position and is all going to work together, we can pull this body off. Now once we get the body off of this thing, we're going to be sandblasting, we're going to be spraying Raptor liner, we're also going to be busting apart the chassis, because that's getting cleaned up too. It's going to be getting the same treatment, sandblast, powder coat, and then the fun begins. Then we can start putting everything back together, and then all the wiring and the gauges and the cool parts and all the pretty looking stuff, and everybody enjoys that part. I know I do. If you have any questions about any of the products that I used or any of the different things that I did today, please feel free to reach out, message me, and I'd be more than happy to answer your questions to the best of my abilities. Until next time, happy hot rodding.